sync.
Hello friends, welcome to part 3 of the Epic Combi series for the Korg Kross. In the first 2 videos we worked on finding our sounds and separating them out into splits across 2 keyboards. In this third part of our Epic Combi series, we're going to add a layer of harmony onto our flute and vibraphone patches. When I first bought my Korg Kross, I was really curious if there was a way to hit one note and have it play a chord, say a triad or a harmony. Let's talk about one way to do that, involving layers. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to add an additional layer and we're going to transpose it to the harmony that we wish to achieve. Now that we have a basic idea of what we want to accomplish, let's get into the details of how to program these magical harmony layers. Alright, so if you're just jumping into this series without following the first 2 chapters, I highly recommend going back and following the tutorials up to this point. Otherwise you may not be able to grasp all the concepts that I'm about to get into. And I'll go ahead and put a link to the first video on the top of the screen. After you've watched this video and followed all the steps I'm about to go through, you can go back and add more layers to other patches if you feel the need to do so. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. The first thing we want to do is we want to add a second layer of vibraphone. So here's our initial layer, and we just want to put a harmony a fourth below that. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to add another vibraphone in the 6th slot of our timbres. Okay, so we just go to the 6th one here, we hit enter, and we want to go down to bell. Now we could put another vibraphone in there, but I thought it would be cool if we just changed the sound up ever so slightly for the harmony, and I'm going to go with kalimba. So let's hit enter, and the next thing we're going to want to do is go to timbre, hit enter, and we want to transpose this down 17 half steps. Alright? But we still can't hear it, and I'll tell you why. Because if you remember from the last video, we didn't give it its correct MIDI channel. So in order to do that, we just need to go over a couple menus to the MIDI channel and put it on 1. Perfect. We have our first harmony all ready to go. So the last thing we're going to want to do with this vibraphone is we're going to want to change the split zone to have it match the original melody. Let's go to menu, zone delay, hit enter, go back up to 1 and see where the keys top and bottom are for the split zone. So it looks like the bottom is F5 and the top is F sharp 6. So let's go back to 6 and just plug those in. Cool. Alright, so now that we've done that, we have our split harmony. It doesn't go below to the flutes, and it doesn't go above into the gongs. Okay, let's talk about the flute patches next. So the thing that we want to remember about our flute patches is that all of the harmonies are going to be a perfect fourth except for 2, which are going to be major thirds. Those notes are going to be D sharp on octave apart from each other. So basically you're going to go up the scale, it's going to be perfect fourths. When you hit the D sharp, it's going to be a major third. You're going to keep going, and when you hit the next D sharp, that's going to be a major third. Everything in between is going to be perfect fourths, and then the one note on the top is going to be a perfect fourth. So in order to do this, we're going to need 5 new timbres. So let's go ahead and get started on creating those. First thing you want to do is go to Page Plus, we're going to want to use 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we're just going to want to assign attack flute to all 5 of those timbres. So the way you do that is you hit enter, you go down to brass, and 38 is going to be attack flute. And you just do that for each timbre. Last one. So we're good to go with that. Now, why don't we go ahead and just assign them to their proper MIDI channels right out the gate. To do that, you just want to go to Menu, go down to Timbre, enter, and here it says 11. We just want to make that 1, and then for each of our 5 flute timbres, just make those 1. Well, if you play the flutes, you'll notice they sound kind of funky because they're all layered on top of each other. So the next thing we want to do is go ahead and split them into their proper split zones. So make sure you're on number 7, so that's the one we're going to start with, and then go to zone delay where we make all our splits, hit enter, and we're going to just go through each one and split them one at a time. So the first split zone is going to be D5 on top and E4 on the bottom. Cool. So then go over to timbre 8, and the next one is going to be D sharp 5 on both top and bottom. So that split zone is only going to be 1 key. This is one of the keys that's going to harmonize a major third below the melody. Alright, let's go over to the next one, number 9. So this split zone's just going to be E5 on top and bottom. Now, the reason that it's only 1 key is because it's the very top note of our solo, which happens to be a perfect 4th, but there just doesn't happen to be any notes above it, so it gets its own key. Alright, moving forward to timbre 10. This is going to be another split zone that is only 1 key, and it's going to be D sharp 4. Alright, 4 down, 1 left to go. The last one is going to be timbre 11, and we're just going to assign the top key to D4. It doesn't matter what the bottom key is going to be, since we're not really playing anything below there. We now have all of our split zones good to go. The final step is we need to assign our transposition for each split zone, and let's do that next. So to get to that screen, you want to hit exit, go to menu, timbre, enter, and go over to pitch. Now let's go back to 7 just to keep things organized, and the first thing you want to do is you want to transpose that up 7 half steps. Now, maybe you're wondering if it's supposed to be a 4th below the melody, why aren't we transposing it -5 half steps? So the answer to that is that the original flute melody that we programmed before is already transposed an entire octave up from its original place. So in order to have the harmony be a 4th below the melody, we need to transpose it 7 half steps above its original place. Hope that makes sense. The next one, number 8, we want to transpose that 8 half steps above, which will create a major third. Number 9, we're going to want to do 7. Number 10, we're going to want to do 8. And for the last one, we want to do 7. Okay, so theoretically, we're good to go. I'm going to go ahead and try to play the solo and see how it sounds. Okay, it sounds great. It sounds perfect. So we must have done everything correctly. Way to go, guys. Good job. Now that we've done all this work in creating our layers, let's go ahead and save it. Don't want to forget to do that. So that's how you add layers of harmony to our Epic Combi. You can also use this method to create 3- and 4-note chords as well. And if you're curious to learn more about intervals and music theory, check out one of my music theory videos above. So we're almost to the end of our epic journey. Now, in my 4th and final installment, I will uncover a way to unlock a hidden layer of sound activated by external modulation, as well as provide some finishing touches to our final combi. Also, if anybody out there knows an easier or more efficient method to create harmonies on the Kross, please feel free to leave a comment below. Lastly, don't forget to support by hitting like, subscribe, and follow me on my social platforms. Until next time, keep on synthing.